Morning, church. It's great to be with you and to bring you another daily hope. I'm recording this a couple of days before Christmas, hence the tree still up behind me, but you'll bear with me because it's got that warm Christmas glow. We're jumping into Judges 15 today, the story of Samson. So I want to begin with a riddle because Samson loved riddles. The riddle is this. Riddle me this. What is stronger than strength and the gateway to greatness? If you think about it, I'm sure, from a Christian perspective, I'm sure an answer will probably spring to your mind. A hint here, it's a virtue that we don't see Samson exercise very often, nor is he known for. So let's jump into the passage for today. The section that I wanted to focus on wasn't the drama. In this chapter, we see Samson taking vengeance on the Philistines for his wife being given to somebody else, and we see him kind of act out of his own anger. He grabs a bunch of foxes, 300 in fact, ties torches to their tails, sets them free in the grain fields of the Philistines, and sets up this showdown between the Philistines and him, where his people, the tribe of Judah, actually hand Samson over to the Philistines because they're afraid of the Philistines who've been ruling over them. And the point here isn't what follows, right? Which we all know well, Samson grabbing the jawbone of the donkey and killing 1,000 Philistines. No, look, because we need to get past that and ask the deeper question, why is this going on? Well, like so often in the book of Judges, the people of Israel had fallen asleep, or they had become addicted to the status quo, or they had allowed themselves to be ruled by other tribes, or they had, the main thing, right, is that they had taken up idolatrous practices. So this dramatic showdown, this is God using Samson to try and awaken the Israelite people to return to him and to break from the relationship they've had with the Philistines. And the part that I wanted to focus on was the very end. So let me read it really quick. Is after he's killed the 1,000, and it's verse 18 through 20. Because he was very thirsty, he cried out to the Lord, "You have given your servant this great victory. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" Then God opened up the hollow place in Lehi, and the water came out of it. When Samson drank, his strength returned, and he revived. So the spring was called En-Hakkor, and is still there in Lehi. Samson led Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. Now, I love this section because what we know Samson for is his strength, right? I mean, we saw it in this chapter, and the following chapters, it recounts his tragic death where he brings the house down on him and all sorts of Philistines, which is really tragic. That's, we tend to valorize that. And I actually think the point of his story I love the most is this moment of vulnerability where he actually cries out to God. And he asks God for what he needs. In this case, water, restoration, the symbol of refreshment, and God hears his cry and brings forth this spring. Because God is capable of doing that in Samson's life and in your life and in my life. Places in our lives that seem barren, where we are exhausted, where we have expended our own strength, God is able to bring forth new life. So have you exercised that virtue recently that eludes Samson so often? The virtue that's the answer to the riddle that began this? What is stronger than strength and the gateway to greatness? Well, in the Christian faith, that would be humility. That would be us humbling ourselves, not acting out of pride, not acting the way the Israelites do all throughout Judges, which is that it says everyone did what was right in their own eyes, but looking to God, looking to Scripture to guide us in teaching us the truth of who we are, whose we are, how we're to act and behave in the world. And, Samson in this section got really mad and did kind of what he wanted to. And I can identify with that because I do that, especially when I'm incensed, when I feel like I've been wronged, or it's okay for me to act out of kind of my own righteous indignation or my frustration. But that reminds me of a verse from James that I want to leave us with, because I do think it actually kind of pairs nicely, or as a foil, or as a counterpoint to Samson and his brashness, and that is James chapter 1 and verse 19 through 21. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Church, I hope that you are encouraged today to adopt that posture of humility, but also to take heart and encouragement from Samson's story, to call out to God when you have reached the end of your own strength, and to trust in him as the source of living water. Have a great day.